Hey guys, basically, I'm the assistant sports editor out there at Seneca. I work for Eric Sprott, who's the head editor, who's the sports editor. Really nice guy to give me my chance. Do a lot of mostly high school sports, and occasionally get on down and get to cover Clemson. And obviously, Clemson graduated last year, so it's nice to be able to keep my pulse on it that way as well.
Right, and let's talk a little bit about Clemson. About Clemson recruiting this year.
Okay. It was a class that seemed to focus on getting just replenishing the skill position guys. I think when you lose a Taj Boyd, when you lose a Roger McDowell, you lose Sammy Watkins, you lose Martavis Bryant. I think that was the main focus this year. Not a lot of focus put on the offensive and defensive line, not a whole lot of focus put on the defensive backs. So it's a class that I think they addressed those needs, and I think they got it. I think they went out and got their quarterback in Deshaun Watson, who I think we'll see get a chance to see in the spring game. And then they went out and got four really good receivers, and three of them already on campus. And Kieran Priest, who's a holdover from the last class, and then you got DeMar Kitt, and you get Artavis Scott, who's already on campus, and then you got a guy like Trevion Thompson coming in on the summer. All those guys, none of them are going to be superstars, I don't think. But I think those are four really solid guys that you're not going to be worrying about receiver depth over the next few years.
Right, and talk about, now some services had Clemson really high in the rankings, and some had them, out of the top 25. Was that just due to the pure numbers, you think? Or tell the listeners a little bit about that.
I think it's just more that every recruiting site values something different. Some of them want to be out there and I think there's always just going to be sort of a natural parity between them because they're trying to maybe appeal to a certain group of fans. I think there's a lot of politics that are involved. I think that's just going to come. I mean, you look at the NFL draft, you get a bunch of different voices, a bunch of people telling you the different things. I think that's about all you can really say about it. Some of them value how many commits you got. Some of them value just different things.
Right, and who do you think could have the most impact next year, in terms of this signing class? And talk a little bit about Jeff Davis's sons. I've heard some people talking about that. Are they gray shirting? Am I right about that?
Yes, I think from the sound of it, now I don't know if they're going to be with the team in the fall. I know they've already graduated from Daniel. Jude and J.D. Davis both went to Daniel High School right up the road from Clemson. I got a chance to see them a couple times this year. They're good players. I think they're still very young. They're young for their age, if you can kind of get what I mean. They're about a year younger than your usual high school graduate. So I think you'll give them time to grow. And I think when you've got the bloodlines that they've got, there's a little bit of I think that kind of gives them a little bit of a grace area. So they won't be on scholarship in the fall. They'll join the team in the spring. I don't know if they'll be walking on in the fall. But I think the gray shirting thing is good because it gives them an extra year to grow and an extra year to kind of, mature a little bit. They're both the kind of football players you want in your program, and that they seem to be very hardworking. They're very gracious young guys, and I think if you can, I don't know if they'll live up to their father's legacy, but maybe between them they'll do some good things for Clemson down the road. And as far as guys who I think are going to make an immediate impact, the easiest answer is Deshaun Watson. I think he's a guy that's probably going to redshirt if he maybe comes in the field spot. I don't think it's going to be him. I think you're probably looking at one of those receivers, maybe an Artavis Scott, maybe a Kieran Priest who's going to step in and make an immediate impact in the wake of Sammy and in the wake of Martavis leaving. Maybe on defense you see a linebacker like a Corey Rogers or Chris Register kind of stepping in for Spencer Shuey, somewhere like that.
Right. Once again, we're talking with Robbie Tinsley from the Seneca Journal. Talk a little bit about, obviously other classes in the ACC. You had FSU and Miami were the other top classes. How did the Seminoles reload coming off that national title?
Well, I must admit, I'm not terribly well versed on other classes in the ACC. I have looked at them, but I'm not going to have a ton of insight there.
Right.
I'm
Well,
going to be brutally honest. I do know enough. I do know a little bit about Florida State.
Right.
Once we get past that, it's a little bit. The coverage is going to be a little bit there. Florida State is a team that really did capitalize on their national championship. They went out and got some. Their receiving core is really where they stocked up this year. They got a guy from in-state, Travis. I think his name's Travis Rudolph. He's going to be a good player. I think they got another 5-star receiver in Erman Lane. I think they stole him from Florida. Not terribly surprising with the year they had. I mean, Florida State's always recruited well, even when they weren't translating it into success. Now that they're translating it into success, I think the recruiting bar is going to get even higher for them, and it's going to be very. I think it's going to force Clemson to up their game on the recruiting trail and try to keep up with them. I think you could really see these two teams kind of break away from the pack. I mean, you never know. You might see Miami kind of return to former glory. As you said, they had a good class as well, and maybe I think it'd be good for the ACC to get another team to join that top tier behind Clemson and Florida State.
Well, and also, last question before we let you get out of here, and we'll get you back on when these phones are working again, right? We're supposed to have you on at 3:30, but we will do a much longer interview with you. But thanks again, and talk a little bit about, do you think that signing day, it'll eventually just be scrapped and, kids will be able to sign when they want to, like, right after their high school career is done?
I think there will always be the want for the spectacle, and I think that's why signing day will always be a thing. And I think there's always going to be kids who love that spotlight. I think there's some kids who are legitimately torn and really need all that time to decide, but some of them just want to be a part of the spectacle that is signing day. So I think it'll always be there. I do think that we'll be, in the not-too-distant future, and you hear Dapper talk about this all the time, I do think there will be an early signing period for kids who are, 98% sure where they want to go. They know they want to go to, the school they've chosen, and they just want the process to be over. I think you will see that. I think there'll always be a signing day just because of the money it generates for, the money and the exposure it generates from websites and exposure for the kids.
All right, Robbie. Well, we really appreciate you joining us once again. That's Robbie Tinsley from the Seneca Journal, and he's got some great work there, and we look forward to keep reading, and we'll get you back on as we get into baseball season and looking ahead to more football, so we appreciate it.
All right, no problem. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Robbie. And that's Robbie Tinsley from the Seneca Journal. And